Hello y'all, this is Cybertron Gaming, and this is my video on a Bayverse perspective and what Bayverse fans really want, and this is just my opinion on the matter from a Bayverse fan perspective. And I think what Bayverse fans want is to feel like they belong in any community, like they want to feel that they belong amongst different versions of Transformers fans, different fans, especially G1 fans. They want G1 fans to respect what they like. They want them to stop being hateful and negative towards what they like, which is the Transformers live action movies. And I think that's one of the problems within the fandom. You got your Bayverse fans versus G1 fans. And I made a last video on this topic, and there's some things I left out from the other video, but I do find it kind of ironic how G1 fans will sit there and say that Bayverse fans are being toxic, but in the very beginning, let's be real, they were the ones being toxic in the very beginning. They were the ones complaining, and that the live action movies weren't G1 enough, and I just have to say that, I just find it kind of ironic they saying that, now they getting their own movies now, which is the Bumblebee movie and Transformers Rise of the Beast, which is basically a combination. The second movie is going to be a G1 and Beast Wars movie, But all of something now, they want to sit there and say Bayverse fans are being toxic, which I find it kind of funny, because in the beginning, they were the ones being toxic and hateful towards the Bayverse and towards those fans that prefer the Bayverse. And this is just my opinion. Some people may not like it, but I'm just speaking my truth and what I feel as a Bayverse fan, not just as a G1 fan, but a Bayverse fan, And what Bayverse fans want is that they want to see a continuation of The Last Knight. Now, me as a Bayverse fan, I know I can't speak for every fan, but to me, if somebody will come up to me and say, what Transformers movie would you rather have? Would you have a Bumblebee 2 movie, a Transformers Rise of the Beast movie, or would you want a continuation of The Last Knight? In my honest opinion, I would say I would want a sequel to The Last Knight. I would want a continuation of that story. I would rather see Unicron rise, because we got a lot of cool characters in that movie. And in my opinion, I was one of those fans that really loved The Last Knight. To me, I liked it a lot more than Bumblebee. And if somebody would come up to me and say, which movie would you rather have? Transformers Rise of the Beast or a sequel to Last Knight? Would you rather have a Transformers Rise of Unicron? I would definitely say that wouldn't even be hard for me. I would honestly say I would rather see Unicron rise and see a continuation of that story, and I think that's what Bayverse fans really want. They want to see a continuation of that story. And in my opinion, I will have Michael Bay come back, Steven Spielberg come back, and I will introduce new characters, but I will continue that story. Like, if it was up to me, I'm not saying, it isn't, but as a fan, what I really want is I want that movie. And I will have characters return, like Kay Yeager, I will have him come back. I will have Sam Witwicky come back. I will have Michaela come back, I will have, people from the previous movies come back, I will have Major Lennox come back from, the previous movies. and Epps, which Epps was played by Tyrese Gibson. Tyrese played Epps. I will have him come back, and I would do the same thing that they kind of did in the last night, where you mixed some new cast members with old cast members. And I will also have Unicron Rise. I will, the continuation of that story, and the continuation of Quintessa. Her plan to try to destroy Unicron. And to me, I would rather see a continuation of that movie than to see a complete full-on reboot. But that's just my opinion. Some people may prefer a reboot. And to be fair, I wouldn't mind if we got the best of both worlds. A reboot, but at the same time, a continuation of the Bayverse. But my honest opinion, because I really love the Bayverse for what it was, I didn't have a problem with it. I'm not saying it was perfect, it wasn't. But I would rather have a continuation of the Bayverse. I would rather have a continuation of that story, And to be fair, I wouldn't mind having the best of both worlds, where we have an alternate timeline where Bumblebee takes place and Transformers Rise of the Beast takes place, and then you have your Bayverse timeline, which is separate from that timeline, where the story will continue, And to me, I would rather have that than, my honest opinion, as a Transformers fan, and as a person that loved the live-action movies, I would rather have a continuation of that story. Now, I've seen some videos on YouTube where you have some fans, Bayverse fans, doing their own trailer of Transformers Rise of Unicron. And I felt like those trailers were awesome, And there's been rumors going around that Bayverse fans really want this movie. They really want this, And I'm not talking about G1 fans, they want a reboot, but us Bayverse fans, which I'm a G1 fanboy as well, but looking at it at a Bayverse fan perspective, I can understand why Bayverse fans will want a continuation of the story that they love, And some people grew up with the Bayverse, and I can understand their love for it because I love it as well. And I just have to say, I would rather have a continuation of that story. I would rather have the designs be the same. I would probably, I just would do things a little differently. But I will also add new characters like Cyclonus, characters like Sweep, Scorch, the Tracker, and just other characters as well. Like, I would bring in new characters, and I would just, in my opinion, I will have Michael Bay back, and I will have Steven Spielberg back. But that's just my opinion, And I will have characters return. Some characters return. Characters like Sideswipe, characters like Mirage. Because I think in the movies, they never really actually said that they actually died, Now, we know that Ironhide gets killed. We know that the Wreckers gets killed off. And we know that Ratchet dies. But, they never really made it perfectly clear that Sideswipe died and that Mirage died. I could be wrong, but I will have them come back. I will give them new designs, and I will give them probably a different off mode, Because in Transformers Age of Extinction, we got Optimus Prime, Bumblebee. We got their designs. We got redesigns for them from the trilogy. Like, when it got to Age of Extinction, Optimus Prime and Bumblebee were redesigned from top to bottom. And I would do the same treatment to Sideswipe and Mirage, slash Mirage. So, in my opinion, I would love to have a continuation of that story. I would rather have a Transformers Rise of Unicron movie than a full-on reboot, because I really love the Bayverse for what it was, And I don't care what the haters say or the critics say. The Transformers, the Bayverse will always have a special place in my heart. And I just feel like, as a G1 fan and as a Bayverse fan, I can appreciate all versions of Transformers. I really appreciate all versions. I'm okay with change. I'm okay with them doing things differently, you know. And that's what I like about the Bayverse. They did things differently, you know. They did some things that was familiar for fans, but they also did some things differently. And there's nothing wrong with doing things differently. And this has just been my video, y'all, on what I think and what I would want out of a Transformers movie. And to me, I would rather see a movie. I would rather see a sequel to The Last Night, you know. And I just want to know down in the comment sections down below, what Transformers movie would you want? And would you rather have a continuation of, you know, The Last Night? Or would you rather a reboot? To me, I would rather, like, my honest opinion, I would rather have a continuation of The Last Night. To me, I want to see Unicron rise. And I want to see the continuation of Quintessa, because Quintessa isn't even dead. You know, she's still alive. And I just want to see a continuation of that story. And I really love The Last Night for what it was. You know, I love the Bayverse Hot Rod. I do love G1 Hot Rod as well, but I was okay with Bayverse Hot Rod. I like Bayverse Hot Rod. You know, I liked his off mode. I like his robot design. I like how he had a weapon that slows down time when he shoots it. You know, the gun that slows down time. And I also like the fact that him and Bumblebee had were really close. They were brothers in arms. I really like that. And I like how in Transformers The Last Night, the Transformers were a part of history. You know. And to me, I really like that. I really loved The Last Night, you know, and I really loved all 5 movies as a fan. And I just hope that one day G1 fanboys, will appreciate the Bayverse for what it is instead of just being so negative towards it, you know. Like, and I think that's what Bayverse fans can't stand, is that G1 fanboys just don't appreciate the Bayverse. They don't at all. And I'm not sitting there saying every G1 fanboy, but, you know, Bayverse fans do want that respect, you know. And me, who's a fan of both, I can see it, I can understand it from the Bayverse fans' perspective, you know. And I understand, I respect G1 fanboys. I get that they want things how it used to be, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong with doing things differently, you know. Accepting change is not a bad thing. It's a good thing, you know. And I just have to say, you know, hopefully one day we can respect each other's opinions and feels about Transformers. Hopefully one day G1 fanboys will realize not everything about the Bayverse was a negative. Not everything about the Bayverse was all bad. There were some good things about it. Instead of being fixated on the flaws and being so hateful and negative, and nowadays they get in their own movie, and now they saying that the Bayverse fans are being toxic, which is kind of ironic. Some of those same fans were being toxic from the beginning. But this has just been my feel about the Transformers fandom and what I want from the Transformers movies. And I would rather have a Rise of Unicron movie. You know, I want to see Unicron rise. I want to see a continuation of the Last Night story, because it left on a huge cliffhanger. It left on the biggest cliffhanger, and I want to see that continue. And I feel like the Bayverse never really had closure, you know, because the Last Night left on a huge cliffhanger. And I'm one of those fans that want to see a continuation of that story. And this has been my video. This is Cybertron Gaming, and I just want to make a shout out to all Transformers fans, and to me, as a Bayverse fan as well. Bayverse for life, you know, I love the Bayverse. I love G1 as well. But I'm okay with different versions of Transformers. You know, I love Beast Wars. I love Prime. They are all awesome, you know, animated. They are awesome, you know. And this has just been my video. And I just want to know, down in the comment section down below, what was your favorite version What's your favorite Transformer in the live action movies? What was your favorite design? Transformers, design, robot design, And I just want to say that we got to learn to respect each other's opinion as fans. And I think what Bayverse fans want is to feel that they belong, you know, amongst all fans, And I feel that every fan deserves